I know nothing about intellect.
What?
I think it's self-explanatory. I think it has to do with stealing people's ideas.
Intellectual property theft is when you take someone else's work and you use it as your own.
Intellectual property theft is whereby people, they come together, they join arms, they make a stealing in some way.
If you're gonna go out and steal someone's ideas,
it
happens locally most of the time.
You create a certain document to document your idea.
Taking other people's work and presenting it as your own without referencing that you have taken the particular idea from a particular place.
Dumelang sanibonani, welcome to Daily Thetha. Wana mogai mo SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Nakalina ke Tumelo sitlogolo sa mathomo sa Mothotoane, and you know, as always, Mantaga go fihla go Thursday at 11 a.m. re tla be re na le lena mogai talking about issues telling gore di are ama as ba. So I mean, I'm worried ge motho a rena ke tseba theft phela. The day they actually take something that belongs to you, you will know the full story. So I think it's important lo gore go robela gore intellectual property ke eng and nna le wena e ra feta jwa.
Kamala mo Kini Shandu sanmukelela ku Daily Thetha on SABC 1 and namhlanje sikhuluma njobe seshile nje uTumi umsebenzi wakho uthandayo usuthola usetshenziswa abanye abantu kodwa ungazi ukuthi kwenzakala njani. Ngicabanga ukuthi kuphela kohlelo sobusuthole kahle ukwazi ukuthi yini ngempela kumele uyenze. Kumele uzube nganani umsebenzi wakho uzuqala ukuprotecta nanokuthi futhi ubani ongakusiza ukuthi uprotect lo msebenzi wakho Tumi.
Okay, nithi don't forget we want to hear from you, so make sure you go to our social media pages. Let's see on Facebook and Twitter. Kirna daily_Thetha on Instagram. Get Daily Thetha_SABC1. We want to hear from you, so even our callers on 011 339 1315 or how did you deal with it? And how you actually got back from it?
Kunjalo nje namhlanje ke asibone nehambezi zethu esinazo namhlanje sanibonani.
Tumelo, good morning. Hi, good How morning. Are you?
Fine, and you?
Good, thanks. So, Lokhonile would like to introduce our guest, of course, Nalo Mojalefa Khoza. You are the Senior Education Specialist for the Companies and Intellectual Properties Commission. And we also have Jaden Balmerans. You are an anti-counterfeit attorney with Kish IP. Thank you so much for Nagalina. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Let's start with you, Mojalefa. For motholong gore ha tsebe gore intellectual property ke okwele ba tseba theft phela. You know ba kwele theft. For motholong gore ha tsebe gore ke eng and what it has to deal with. O ka mtlhalosetsa wa re.
You know, there are many definitions of intellectual property worldwide.
Yeah.
But I guess the simplest is intellectual property means the creation of the mind. Let me break it down for you. Intellect is something that you do using your mind.
For sure.
It has to do with the mind. Property is something that belongs to someone. Now, if you sit down, you apply your mind, and at the end of the day, you come up with something that finally becomes a product.
Right.
You are the owner of the product, meaning the property belongs to you. You are the owner of that property. You are the intellectual property owner. What it actually means is that once you are the product owner, you've got the right to decide what should be done with the product. Whether it should be distributed, whether it should be reproduced, whether it should be sold, that is dependent on you.
But ngifuna ukwazila about Mjalefa ukuthi ena esmen sokuthi nanku umsebenzi wami sengiwenzile and the next thing sewuthathiwa setshenziswa abanye abantu and ngoprotectanga ngasizakala kanjani, or as long as ngaprotectanga so hambile.
We are government, and the song that we always sing is, when you have created something, before you become excited and start talking about it, make sure you keep in touch with us, you protect it. Otherwise, if you don't protect it and somebody takes it and runs with it and becomes an overnight millionaire, you don't have a legal leg to stand on. You're a loser. That is why we are saying, before you get excited, once you come up with something, give us a call, come to us, we'll advise you as how you can actually protect what you have created.
I think those are the first steps that you need to definitely take before we even get excited, as you mentioned. But Jada, let's talk about the counterfeiting prevalence in the country that we can't run away from. For somebody that's at home, that's probably experienced intellectual property theft against their own original work, what work is, or rather, what help and assistance is available for them?
Well, of course, depending, of course, what type of intellectual property you do have. Do you mind if I go into the different types of it? Well, the main types, of course, is patents, which refers to a new invention. So it has to be new, and of course you need a patent attorney to actually lodge a specification on your behalf with the CIPC to actually register that. Secondly, there's trademarks. That is, of course, a brand, logo, name, letter, numeral, anything that you can protect as a trademark. So let's think about the Coca-Cola logo.
All right.
That is a trademark. Then there's copyright. That refers to the rights of the author. That is, if I take a piece of paper and I draw a picture on this piece of paper, that copyright's mine. If I take a photograph, that photograph is mine. Nobody else can use that. And you do not need to register the copyright, of course. It's registered automatically.
No, I see, but how expensive is to protect my work? Do I even need a lawyer to protect my work?
Well, I would definitely recommend that you involve your IP attorney because they are specialists in the field. You have to protect your IP correctly from the start. Because if you, let's say, protect your trademark incorrectly, you will not have any legs to stand on if somebody infringes on it. So I would definitely recommend involve your IP attorney. However, it is not a prerequisite. You can, of course, approach the CIPC. And if any more information is needed on it, I mean, you can check out our firm's website, www.kish.ip or kish-ip.com. And it gives a broad overview of all these different types of intellectual property that can be protected and how.
Alrighty then, well, let's go to our social media pages. Facebook there, I see we have a comment coming up from Lawrence. He's asking, do affidavits for your work, I think work as backup? So if unale an affidavit, does that apply as a form of protection for your IP?
Jaden has said it. You need to apply for protection with CIPC. Now, in terms of copyright, a lot of people ask the question. Because copyright, you get automatic protection. You don't have to register. So quite often we get a question, what if somebody steals my work? What kind of proof do I have to present that that work is really mine? We are saying an affidavit will work. Sometimes with regard to copyright, get in touch with an attorney. If you have written a book, make a copy, give it to an attorney. Why an attorney? Because an attorney is regarded as an officer of the law. So if there is an infringement, his testimony in court stands. That's another proof. But with regard to other types of intellectual property, it's easy because when you register, you get a registration certificate. It's a legal document. But it's a document that you can produce in court to prove that you actually are the owner of the intellectual property, be it a patent, be it a trademark or a design.
But manje life into engibuka khona ukuthi kuyo yonke le process oyibalayo kutshengisa ngathi esikhathini ugcina kudingakala ukuthi kube nemali phakathi. If I don't have money, but this is my work. So kunzima to prove myself with kahle umsebenzi wami lo. If I don't have all these lawyers who can help me angisize step by step ukuthi ngicine ngiprove ukuthi umsebenzi bonke wami.
We are very aware of that. That's why we say protect it first, to avoid such things, because we are aware there are people who do not have money to take an infringer to court. Especially if an infringer, it's a big company who has got a lot of money. You cannot take them on because your finances are low. So we are saying, in that case, we have what we call the Counterfeit Goods Act. We are saying, essentially, intellectual property rights are private rights. It is your responsibility to monitor who uses your work without your your permission, who reproduces your work without. But we as government, we're saying we're not going to leave you alone. That is why we've came up with an act called the Counterfeit Goods Act to protect you. But the act only protects those who are owners of.
No. All right. Let's take a corner right there as you're talking. Fadimpo, Kyakushar Omo Lining. Welcome to Daily Thetha.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you, me?
I'm okay. I have a question. I'm a storyteller. I've been writing for plus minus 12 years now. But now the problem is I've never experienced theft, copywriting and stuff like that. No one has stolen my work thus far. So what I want to know is, is it the same way if I'm protecting the stories that I've written, as much as if I'm protecting the name of a company and protecting the work that I've written, is it the same procedure? What do I need to go about doing that?
Thank you so much, Dimpa. I think that's a very good question. Jaden, would you like to answer that
definitely. Let's talk about the different types of intellectual property right there. Writing a book, that's copyright, that's literary work. So as soon as she wrote that down, she's protected on copyright, provided she didn't take the story from anybody else, but that's her story, she came up with everything. It's original, she's the author, and there's a lot of other requirements that need to be followed. The name of a company, you can register the name of a company. Like anything PTY limited.
Okay.
You can have a protection for that. You can also apply through the CIPC for that. Then you actually have a certificate saying this is your company name.
Okay.
Copyright is automatic.
All right.
Thank you. Usabukela iDaily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure. Sikhuluma indaba enkulu umsebenzi wakho ukuthi ungathola usetshenziswa abanye abantu ngaphandle kwemvumo yakho. So now mawukhona ekhaya ungasifonela ku 011 339 1315. That's the number sitholakala kuyona.
My name is Anthony Bila, otherwise known as The Expressionist, and I work as a creative director in the fields of photography, videography, music, and fashion. Well, the way that I found out about the copyright issues with Nando's was that I was on a shoot with a friend of mine, and I got a call from a friend of mine in the UK talking about how they'd seen some of my images in the store paraphernalia and the goods that they had, and they subsequently contacted me to let me know about the thing, and then I contacted Nando's as an entity. I tweeted and Facebooked, they inboxed me, one of their lawyers contacted me, and then I put them in touch with my lawyer, and then they discussed the terms and conditions, and it was as simple as that to resolve. They paid me compensation, and then I used that money and reinvested it into the business and the photography and the art that I create. And it opened up the door for future possibilities with them to do work because they had an appreciation for the actual work that we were doing. But with me personally, in having been a photographer for about 5 years, it's only happened twice. But I know of other cases here and there where it does happen, where people Google image search something, put it on a flyer, and then use it without permission. So it does happen often. It's just that it doesn't get the notoriety or the exposure that mine did because it's usually smaller brands or someone throwing a party rather than a company the size of Nando's. The case hasn't affected my work at all. In fact, it's made me want to teach other young artists and producers of work that they must know their rights and always understand that these things aren't as unnatural as people might think. The key is to communicate clearly and concisely, and also and just to speak your own mind, to say that this is my image and this is what's happened. And a lot of the time, these brands are happy to accommodate and resolve the issue and be apologetic about it. I think the best way to protect your work as an artist from copyright infringement is to create platforms where you house your work. So it's free to start an Instagram profile, it's free to start a blog, it's almost free to start a website. So have places where people can go back to reference your work, because that also helps with Google algorithms and Google spiders, so that if someone image searches a photo that you've taken, it will show up on the internet and show the source, which would be your website, your Instagram, your Visco account, whatever it may be. So have places that you have to contain the work, so that there's always a point of reference for even Google algorithms to find the original source. The biggest thing that I learned from the experience was that I still hate watermarks. So if you're a photographer or creator, don't think that putting your name on things is going to protect it. Just make sure that you create an understanding of your signature style as a photographer, so that even if someone crops out your watermark or changes the image, people that recognize your work and are fans of your work will see it immediately and contact you. So it was resolved well. I still love my quarter chicken mild with chips, and everyone was happy.
Well, Anthony Beale, of course, a producer of great work, artistry, experienced the same thing, Nando's, and therefore had to, resolve issues. Unfortunately, Anthony couldn't be with us today. And how did he deal with it? However, though, we're joined in studio, of course, by the general manager for brand experience at Nando's, Deidre King, and she's here, of course, to tell us exactly what happened. Welcome, Deidre.
Hi,
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Let's talk about, how you got a hold of Anthony's work. What is the process in acquiring his original work?
So I think in this instance, what happened was our agency was busy putting some artwork together for a menu, and they got hold of his work on Instagram, so it was on social media. They manipulated the image, they thought, I suppose, substantially enough. It was then placed on a menu, and it went out. We printed the menu. This was a couple of years ago, and that's really what happened in terms of how Nando's got hold of a piece of Anthony's work.
But after you find out that you use Anthony's work, what's the relationship between Nando's and Anthony?
We've got a great relationship with Anthony. So what happened was Anthony got hold of us on Facebook, on social media. We responded immediately. We said, well, this is, because this is not what Nando's does. I mean, we are the biggest supporter of South African art in the country. We got hold of him. We consulted with various industry experts. We negotiated with him. We came to a settlement, fair market value settlement. He went off and reinvested that money into his business. So he's been able to grow and expand. And we've got a really great relationship with Anthony from then.
Yeah, and also you did mention that you got into this mess because you had an agency that had to, you know, look for the, I suppose, the artwork on social media. But for a company as big as yours, what measures do you have in place, you know, to sort of avoid this? Because one would think that, you know, your company's fairly large, to have all the legal, you know, sort of like requirements and policies in place to ensure that before you even send out something to the public, you've checked it first. But how are your policies now?
Well, the policies have certainly been strengthened. We take our agencies through it because we cannot tolerate that from ourselves. So we don't from our agencies either. So they are all very well versed in what is policy to Nando's. It was a very unfortunate incident. That particular agency was a freelance agency into us at the time. They have since become one of our agencies, but certainly well versed in our policies going forward.
Interesting.
So what do you say that I mean, the overall lesson out of this as a big brand and to other brands as well? What have you learned out of the experience, Anthony?
Well, I think mistakes can happen. And should a mistake happen, I think the biggest lesson is that how you deal with that mistake. Deal with it quickly, deal with it fairly, certainly make sure that everybody's compensated, because people's creativity is what can grow into a business. So I think big lessons for business is just react very quickly and come to a mutual agreement.
And I'm glad that in this case you were able then to come to the party and not really give the runaround. But also for other companies that are watching, I mean, what would you advise them on how to, you know, sort of take measures and how to work with other artists up and coming? Because as you mentioned, mistakes will happen, they still do happen. So for both the artist and the companies in these instances, what do you think the relationship should be like?
Well, I think there should always be open and honest dialogue. I think, you know, people should somebody as an artist feel that they've been infringed, should get in touch with the company quite quickly, and then hopefully that the company reacts as quickly. I don't think it should become into an aggressive fight. I don't think it needs to be. I think people can resolve things amicably as long as people are fair and honest. I think that makes it all work.
Yeah, interesting.
I believe we have Andres on the line. Andres.
Hello, sir.
How are you doing, sir?
Fine, how are you, sir?
We are together. And your question or your comment about today's topic?
Yeah, I want to comment and say something on the program, sir. In 2014, I took my HIV and AIDS medication. It's a herbal. I'm a traditional healer by profession. So one of the institutions that are doing research in Pretoria.
Right.
So I signed with them the material transfer agreement and the non-disclosure agreement.
We're listening,
and they
Andres?
gave me the literature review is all those medicines that I'm using. They've given me that literature review. But until so far, I don't get anything from those people. I don't know why, because every time they tell me that there's no funds available. But when we sign, before I deliver the material, the plant specimen to them, they promise me that they will help me as soon as possible. But I see the years are going by and there's nothing for me.
Alrighty, Andres. Very interesting question there.
Well,
hello, man.
Andres, it sounds like you came up with an idea to solve a problem, which is usually where intellectual property starts. My advice would be, excuse me, if you ever approach a company with an idea, get a non-disclosure agreement in place immediately before you even tell them your idea. I mean, there was a case recently, a Vodacom, with regards to Please Call Me, where an accountant in Vodacom actually came up with the idea for Please Call Me. There were discussions, and of course, the case had to go all the way to the Constitutional Court. But if they had a non-disclosure agreement from the start, they could have actually had a piece of document to fight on and say, this is what I told you. This is the idea, and you acted on it. You made a lot of money out of it. That's supposed to come to me. So definitely get a non-disclosure agreement from the start.
All right, thank you so much, Andres. Thank you so much for that comment and that question. I hope it really answers to your issue. And I wanted to ask you, Didro, but I think we'll just give you this question after the break because we have to unfortunately rest and pay our bills now. And when we come back, we'll have more questions regarding an IP session.
About intellectual property theft will be stealing people's ideas or anything that they have created, either movies, novels.
I know nothing about it. Intellectual property theft is when you steal somebody's ideas and thoughts. Like somebody would think of how to do things, how to solve problems, and then somebody would steal it.
I don't know anything about intellectual property theft.
People can steal your idea just because you didn't register it. So, yeah.
Usabukela iDaily Thetha on SABC 1 Mzansi for sure, and namhlanje sikhuluma ngokutshontshwa kwemisebenzi yabantu yahlukahlukene nakwe music industry hlezuzwa ngapha nangapha umuntu ekhala ukuthi hey ingoma yamathatha ubani this and that, but masibheka njengamanje ku Facebook, actually Twitter, there's a Twitter camera from Riwata uthi they stole my music and tried to change it. As I never thought I might be a victim of intellectual theft. That's from Reward. And sibungelele isikhulu saseRisa Deputy Chairperson Thobela. Unjani baba?
Hayi ngiyaphila unjani uThemba?
Ngikhona bengicatha uzothi nawe Thobela.
Hayi no. Esinye isikhathi Thobela.
Esikhathini eziningi sihleze sizwa ama-artists ekhala njengale tweet eqhamukayo ukuthi umculo wabo uthathiwe wasetshenziswa ama-artists amakhulu esikhathini eziningi. Esimeni njengaleso ndila kanjani nezimo ezithi ayifani nalezo? Nanokuthi ukuthi advisor kanjani ama-up and coming artists ey'meni ezifana nalezo Thobela?
I think first and foremost, in terms of us having to advise them, when umuqala uzofuna ukungena kule ndima yomculo, into besifuna ukuthi ama-artist ayenze manje is to understand ukuthi kunama different organizations awenza umsebenzi ongafani. Kukhona uSamro, bhala ingoma zakho, wenza yonke into, you submit kubona, you register it in your name, everything iba phansi kwegama lakho. So alapho ingoma usuyenzile studio, which is where inkinga zikhona ke manje. Inkinga zelapha e-studio ke manje, because now e-studio told niyangena ngintwana ngiphume ekasi emkhukhwini ngidesperate ngifuna ukushaya ingoma, ngifuna ukuthi abantu bangazi, and there comes somebody who's somebody somewhere, uyayizwa le beat ukuthi ayahamba le ngoma because of i-power struggle between the two. Atantwana lethalana mina ngokuphuthumela ngayo 1212 izingoma isiyakhala but mhlambe ikhala with a different yana version yana but sesingqondo yakhe. So i-problem yalapho ukuthi when abantu be desperate bayi problem, and then the next thing umthola semaphepheni ngama weekend uba ngumsindo yengoma yami, but aka understandanga ukuthi when you come in, this is a business. Run a business like I run is spaza shop. Where abantu mabezalana fanele ba understand mayiphume Samro khona Risa they make sure ukuthi thina sikunika boma ama ISRC codes. Whereby we make sure with that particular code, that code belongs to you, nobody else. Then that song is your song. And if somebody else tries to steal it or does whatever they do, we can go to the originator of the song and say, by the way, this song was registered by so and so. So we do have those things in place. I promote artists abazi ukuzofuna information. Into abayifuna bafuna ukuba ama celebrity sibazi becula, at the end of the day it doesn't take you anywhere.
Mara ke ntho mjale fana bulela ka yona about excitement. Horo ba excited o batla o share music wa hao le batho, batho ba celebrity overnight. The record labels le zona responsibility ya bona le role ya bona ka o informa lo educator the artists sa bona about, you know, legal words like, you know, signing and sort of like protecting mereko wa hao ke eng?
The record label sponsor the record label hangata, and is that you get somebody called an A&R.
Okay.
That particular person msetso ha ke ulo scouting talent ayithole athole Mroza somewhere atoshabula fandami asinamo signer, and then that particular person will then need to go to legal.
Okay.
How can I go legal? Sponsor legal is to make sure that he or she sits down, understand the type of a contract that you're going to sign. As a protector, every little thing that you do. That's why today we go for 360 contracts. Because we want to protect every single thing that you do. Because if any lapan, somebody will knock somebody somewhere. And at the end of it, go a problem. So we ought to find a way to record labels, kuba nama legal department, kuba nama department of ANR, marketing and PR. If your record label is Nandi, you know, it wants to move, it must have all those departments. And that is the job of the label.
So well, let me just quickly go to Facebook and Tologuti. There's I'm Konga Marumo, which I'm a DJ and music producer by profession. I would like to know the appropriate procedures to protect my stage name as a trademark, because now there is whoever like OK Malum Kulket, and then there's another one OK Malum Kulket. How do you deal with the situation?
So how do we also, you know, protect stage names?
There's Rosa and Rose.
Yeah, you see, again, it's a question of you having to go and register your name. I think the offices are in Pretoria. You go and register your name so that nobody else
one Tumelo Mothotoane.
There must be one. You must go and do those things, register with things. But we all want to be somebody. You know, the problem of this industry is we sifunuba or Tovela. There's only one Tovela, which is me. There's not going to be another one. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So who teaches somebody, who teaches man, they must learn that you don't just come up with a name. Umaguno Nasty C, there's only one Nasty C. He needs to go to Pretoria, register into so I can make sure that he is protected. Like me, I am protected. I want to Pretoria.
Hello.
You can try it. And you have
Zaman.
I'll chow that money. No, I'll chow that money. Make no mistake. I'm
All right,
a
let's go
reality.
to our audience members. You have a question, my lady? Hey.
As far as education is concerned, what is the government doing to educate people in communities and townships who don't have resources or access to, you know, CICP and things like that?
You can pass the microphone. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. We are mandated by law, the Companies Act, to go out there and educate all our stakeholders about company laws and intellectual property laws. And when I talk about the stakeholders of CIPC, I'm talking about the youth, I'm talking about ordinary community members, I'm talking about SMMEs. Generally, I'm talking about everybody. So speaking to people out there, I'm not doing them a favor. This is what we're supposed to do as CIPC. Educate people about their intellectual property rights, educate them about the procedures for registering intellectual property rights. We have a 3-year program as CIPC that is very targeted. We have a 3-year program that we take IP to high schools because that's a mandate from the cabinet, the South African cabinet. They want us to take IP to as far as primary schools. We've started with high schools. It's a 3-year program. We're doing it all around the country. We're doing it for SMMEs. We're doing it for the youth. We're doing it for universities as well and tertiary institutions.
All right.
So those are the programs that we have in place. We go from place to place. We invite people, and then we do presentations and workshops on intellectual property and how to protect it.
Wow. Cool. And I believe what you see now, I'm going to microphone.
Okay, I'm Manabisto Makubu. I would like to ask, if a person stole my idea, am I supposed to sue that person, make that person to pay me for stealing my idea?
Your question is, are you supposed to sue someone?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, I think we'll take it to Jaden. And while you pass on the mic to Jaden, let's just take another question from Twitter. It says, what is the difference, if any, between plagiarism, piracy, and intellectual property theft? And Jaden, perhaps you can answer and just capitalize those two questions. Yeah.
Well, yours, depending what your idea is, obviously. If you wrote a book, made music, it's a brand you developed, of course, yes. If you have created it and it is yours and we can prove that it is yours, yes, contact your IP attorney. It will obviously be analyzed on a case-by-case basis, and we will advise you accordingly of how we should approach this. Basically, on the second one, what is the difference, if any, between plagiarism, piracy, and intellectual property theft? Just as a comment on that. Intellectual property theft, I think that's a very strong word. You're not stealing something physically. You are using, sorry, excuse me, someone else's idea. And so you didn't go to this guy, hijacked him, took his idea and made it your own.
Right.
That can be done without even knowing sometimes. I mean, as Mrs. King said, it can happen. It's a mistake. But obviously you can correct it afterwards. Plagiarism, obviously someone, let's take it in the form of a book. They plagiarize your work, take it off as their own.
Right.
I wrote this book. Meanwhile, somebody else did.
Yeah.
Piracy, that is, of course, where anti-counterfeiting can come in. They actually make a fake product of yours. Let's say a fake liquor or a fake handbag or fake shirt. It looks exactly the same. For the person on the street, it will look like it originated from that person owning the brand. However, it doesn't. It's a fake product. You can take steps against it, obviously. And I think intellectual property theft, a lot of people have the idea of you are actually stealing something from me. You're using it. Obviously, you have a right to it. And we can act against it. And it's on a case-by-case basis.
Alrighty then. Well, let's take a short break. And we still have more for you. Real about intellectual property theft. Some of us are not afford the attorneys, are not on Wi-Fi and smartphones every day to interact on social media. What can we do in that instance? All that and more.
Sabukeli Daily Thetha no SABC 1 Mzansi for sure sikhuluma indaba ezibalekile kokuthatheka kwemisebenzi yabantu ngendlela engeyiyo ebeyithola sebengazi ukuthi bazowenza njani nanokuthi abameli bathola lapha sonke leso sikhathi kanti na Facebook sikhona ku Twitter sikhona. There's something coming from Twitter as well. Genuine Fade SA. Can someone take a picture of me and use it for advertising without my permission?
Yeah.
That's a question. Amos Khumalo ummeli obhekele kakhulukazi into ze IP. Awusitshela bazi esimene njengalesi kwenziwa kanjani mntu?
There is an advertising standards authority in this country, the ASA.
Yeah.
It regulates the conduct of our advertisers.
Yeah.
One of the things which it actually forbids is for somebody, like for example, a company, to take a picture of, say, an ordinary man in the street and use it for advertisements without their permission. So the short answer basically is that they cannot do that. It's not right. What is different though is if they take that picture by a collage of it in such a way that you cannot recognize that person. That is okay. But where they just take, for example, a picture of yourself without your authority, by some music advertisement without your authority, that actually is not legal.
And for somebody, I think we also had a question beforehand about can you sue Batwalungoro they are perpetrators or perhaps Batwalungoro they've stolen your intellectual property? Can you take them to jail? Can they go to jail rather, or can you take them to court? What are some of the repercussions with intellectual property theft?
No, sure. The answer from Uputi is indeed you can actually sue. But again, before you sue, make sure that the person is worth suing in the sense that unama resources they can be able to pay whatever actually damages you've actually incurred. At the same time, you can also lay a criminal charge against them. For example, mangabe sikhuluma ngendaba copyright, for instance. If umuntu okhona tholakala guilty of copyright infringement, for a first offense yakhona angaba actually sentenced to about maximum of 5 years imprisonment or 3,000 rand maximum fine per item are infringing ngayo. So basically you can actually do both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kumele ngazi ukuthi lo muntu uyabopheka noma cha.
Ngempela.
Intellectual property theft.
Bayithotsha ivoice yami. I see something as well on social media ezile soli. Thank you Daily Thetha for educating us. Now we know how to protect umsebenzi yethu. This is a nice one because abantu abaningi bebengazi unga protect umsebenzi wakho.
Yeah. And also for Mothotoane can afford to go to court. And as you mentioned, the resources. What other sort of like, I don't know, alternatives are there for Bon? Is there a legal aid or government has aligned the resources just to also talk about they understand what funding may be an issue?
Sure. Look, in terms of resources, there is certainly the Legal Aid Board.
Yeah.
And I think we tend to forget about them. They're actually a government institution. And I'm sure that if you approach them and they see any merit in what you're trying to protect, I'm sure they'd be actually happy to assist you in some way towards actually getting protection for sort of for enforcing your IP rights, for instance. Yeah.
All right. And also, I just wanted to talk to you about Dabaya, counterfeiting. I know that we had engaged earlier on Le Tobela Tamin, and I'm sure Tobela, perhaps you can even answer this for us. But I mean, Kobo Bri, Kobo, Noord taxi ranking, Rabona, a lot of, CDs, Monongoro, Kiko Sahara Marharia, or Beyonce, Frank Kavagera. How do you deal as, the law with such counterfeits, especially because they're so public and they're right there in front of us? Lidianka Batwalengore, Bashumsha, DCD, for example.
I think people should understand one thing. If you own intellectual property rights, those rights are not self-enforcing. You need to actually dedicate resources towards enforcing what belongs to you when it is infringed. I think that much is important.
I think
thanks, man. I think the other thing that the industry has done, we have an anti-piracy, companies that are looking after these things. But the challenge that we are sitting with is that all those companies have a problem that you find the law enforcers are not supportive to the idea because they don't have something to also back them up. I mean, we've done things like Abo Tutula. We went to the China Mall, Nabo Mzwake, Nabo Prachiko, way back. We went in there. Unfortunately, we beated some people up because they were stealing our work. And we ended up being, arrested in a way because of the law doesn't say Mshai, but the law also doesn't say what then do I do when somebody does this. So it's either here or there. So we're trying to actually make sure that the DTI has a legal law that is there that says if you do X, this is what we're gonna do to you. So that is still in a process. You know how our laws are done. You have to consult. You can't just jump in and want it.
I'm gonna any comment in Kautipegwana as well. Mapa Papa, Lamini, as UTJ. If I remix some of your song and if I will mixtape here due to e-play we radio and I change is that a thief now? I twisted I remix ingabisaba yona. But no,
I think what we say and do, it's if a song is mine, you wanna remix it, you wanna do a mixtape or whatever, I change it somewhere. Before you can do anything on that song, you must get a consent from me. I must actually give you the permission to can do that. You can't just take my song and remix it becomes big. It's actually wrong. But even there, our laws are still a bit vague in terms of protecting that particular aspect in our business. But we are pushing as much as we can to say, let's teach and teach and teach as much as we can.
Education is very important. All right, Yakusha Ornalisa Kumzi on the line. Welcome to the show.
Yes, ma'am.
You're okay?
I'm fine with you.
Ben, thank you.
I have a question regarding the CIPC. I registered a company myself with CIPC 6 months ago, but they didn't register myself as a director. I have my team as directors.
It's your company, Mara, you're not a director?
No, I haven't included myself, but I registered the company myself and I didn't register as a director.
Why?
Okay.
Why am I fired as director?
Oh, it's because I didn't want to involve myself with the company at that time, but now I see the need that I must be involved. Now, I would like to know what should I do to have controlling powers since I'm not a director.
Sure, there's a tough one, Sakumzi, and a very important one, because I'm sure
if you register a company with us, whether you register it manually or online, and then you're not part of the directors, you become an incorporator because you are the one who registered the company. But for you to have controlling powers and become a director, you have to talk to the directors of the company. Once you do that, you write what we call an understanding. An understanding that you bring to us where everybody agrees that they allow you to become a director. We can only make you a director if other directors agree and sign. Otherwise, that would be considered fraud. You've heard of cases where people came to CIPC without the permissions of the other directors and remove other directors. That is fraud.
Sure. Very, very important. Yeah. All right, hurry break, Kini.
Yeah,
we're going for another caller now. Mboniswa on the line. Hi, welcome. Mboniswa? Go on, okay?
Uyaphila puthi.
Tima TV, Papa. Tima TV, 2017. Nakosa intellectual property here and this, here and that, while you're answering. Tima, Papa.
Yeah, Baba. Siglalele, Baba. Kulum.
Yes, the TV is off now.
Okay.
No, it's fine, Papa. Kulum again.
Yes, I want to ask CIPC, what are their measures to people in rural areas? Because CIPC is only like in big cities and towns. Us in rural areas, we have to travel, which is another money to travel to go and register. So how do they help people in rural areas? Same as like the company Samru. Samru, you have to move from PMP to Durban in order to register your song. There's no Samru in PMP. So what are their measures to people like in rural areas? How do they help them in order to register their property and stuff? I'm in Richmond, outside PMP.
Okay. No.
Yeah.
That is a question that we get a lot from a whole lot of people. We are aware that we're situated in Pretoria, we're a national office, and we don't have provincial offices. As a result, we don't have a footprint in provinces, and we do not reach out to people. But since 2013, we have embarked on a process to make sure that we reach out to all other provinces. You probably have heard of self-service terminals. We have established one in Johannesburg, Carlton Center, where we're trying to make sure that the people within Johannesburg and the surrounding townships get access. We've got another office in Durban. We've got another office in Cape Town. In due process, we are going to make sure that we establish those self-service terminals in all the provinces so that people can be able to access our services and our products.
All right, thank you so much, Mujale. I think Bonisa Wena is an opportunity for you as well. Okay, volunteer. We can be a foot soldier for Modulang or no, so I can help my community information. There's an opportunity that you can also exhaust to help they need to register their intellectual property. But on that note, Ariyeng Papachong will be, of course, running off our discussion.
Usabukela iTeli Thetha no SABC 1 Mzansi for sure, and isikhuluma indaba ezinkulu ke namhlanje zokuprotect kwemisebenzi yabantu abahlukahlukene. Ima ukuthi uyafika nje usuphuthelwa okuningi kodwa sithombe ukuthi khona ozokufunda before uhlelo namhlanje liphele. Asibeke lapha ku Facebook na ku Twitter ukwenzakalani nangu gift uthi where is Irisa, and do you pay to register umsebenzi wakho? Angibuze kuwena Thobela. Do you pay to register umsebenzi wakho Irisa?
No, you don't pay ukuregister umsebenzi wakho Irisa. Uyafika kumahala kaput for free.
Ukhokhela i-transport kuphela.
I-transport ukhokhela lapho ngabe uhamba nge-Uber, uhamba nge-taxi kuwena. But what you then pay Irisa, we normally call it ama-levies. Lapho ke manje let's say usureleasile music wakho usukhiphile whatever la ukhiphe khona, then uzositshela ukuthi ugcobe ama CD ayingaki, and then from there kuba nama levy. All the members have to pay that.
Okay.
Well, I have a question actually for Deidre. Deidre, if you could just have the mic. I know that we've actually dealt a lot with your incidents with Anthony Bila, but I know that Nando's also has issues with their memes. I mean, people recreate Nando's memes all the time.
Every day.
And I find your company having to constantly defend and say, it's not us. We didn't say this controversial tweet. We didn't tweet this. How do you deal with that as a company?
Well, I think we do our own sort of voice of the nation type tweets. We do that. That's what we're very well known for. When other people do it, we do. I think you can sometimes sense that it's not our company's values in a tweet. So I think people do get that. We will respond and say this isn't an official Nando's tweet, but we have a nation of marketers that do marketing on our behalf. So it's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, I think it goes with reputation with that. Interesting.
And
na question is, what if kinala idea but akaingwala mo fatse? I tell my friend okay Chomi, I want to open a internet cafe. Then 3 months down the line abaibula same idea ene ke mmotsa ka yona. So does that mean na I've lost cause how na mo ke ngwetse nkoteng?
That's interesting.
Yeah. Look, when copyright becomes a bit tricky, you should understand it. When I have an idea about writing a book, I tell it to my friend, and he writes the book. He becomes the copyright owner. Because your idea is only in the head. It only becomes protectable when you have taken the idea and have written it down on a piece of paper. We cannot protect what's in your head, but we can protect what you have taken out of your head and wrote it down on a piece of paper. So never tell your friend your idea before writing it down. Because once you write it down, then it's copyright, it's protected. You can start talking to him about it. Because you've got proof that you have created the work.
Yeah. So the proof is all we need to show that it belongs Mowe. All right, Peggy, you're on the line. Welcome.
Yebo sawubona.
Sawubona unjani buti?
Ngiyaphila ninjani sisi?
Nami ngiyaphila.
Yebo uBheki Gasa from KZN.
Khuluma nami.
Yebo sisi sibe nenkinga lana we group of authors. Si approach i-publisher ukuthi si-submit umsebenzi kuwe. Then base besithumelela i-contract sayisayina ngokuyi-understanda ukuba ayisho konke sikubonayo. Then only to find out ukuthi bathi bona-ke bazolokunja njalo uma ngabe bese be-deposita imali bazosithumelela ama-financial statement before they deposit the money.
All right.
Abakwenzayo ekugcineni badeposita imali after bese beletha i-statement leyo mali suyisebenzisile kodwa bese kufika i-statement ngemuva.
Okay. Okay. I was saying, Amos, or in that case, what happens? What do you think should happen in that incident?
I'm not sure I understand what the issue is.
I think the issue is the group of authors submitted their work to a publisher, and then the publisher I think they paid some money to the publisher. The publisher paid.
No, that's fine. Then it would seem to me that it's simply a case, maybe potentially, of a breach of contract on the part of the publisher. Yeah. And maybe what the payment is talking about, maybe it's actually royalties that are actually being paid by the publisher for the use of the work. So that much wasn't clear. But if that is the case, then they must just make sure that the payments coming in correspond with what's actually in the agreement. And if it doesn't, they need to engage with the publisher and make sure that maybe they amend the contract or enforce their right to get the payment as per the agreement.
That's very interesting.
Cool stuff. And almost as Valanje, uthini ulokuzana i-comment yakho, especially to ama-artists esikhuluma ngawo abasazofuna umculo wabo ukuthi uhambe, yini ongayisho nje kubona about ukuthi be-protect umculo wabo?
I think engizokusho kuma-artists is that siya-understanda i-glamour, you know, i-fame, i-fortune, i-industry yethu njalo, imnandi, you know. But prior to it being imnandi, ibhlungu, because ungeza wena uza ngobuso bese bekushaya ngempama bakushaya 2 feet. Angifuni abantu bashaya 2 feet mina. Cela wonke umuntu ofuna ukucula ofuna ukwenzani, if you going to write a song, make sure you submit that song to SAMRO. Whatever that you have to do, make sure njengobhuti kaDesha, everything that is on paper iba valid. Umculo wakho umqodo ukwenza i-CD lakho, go to RISA and register it and get a RISA code that will protect that particular CD. So labantu abapirateayo la iHillbro labaningi abagcwele phana siyazi ukuthi bakuphi. Not that we don't know. Wouldn't you say asabu kuyakubona bethu sabukushaywa. But at some point zophuma siye kubona siyofuna what belongs to us.
Nizwele ke bakwethu with Daily Thetha on SABC 1 uhlelo lanamhlanje asithemba ukuthi kuningi okufundile and nawe usekhaya na Facebook na Twitter nama calls wenu siyabonga kakhulu ukuthi nibe nathi with Daily Thetha on SABC 1.
Thank you so much to all our guests. Thank you so much, Jaden. Thank you, Mjale Fatobela. Amos, thank you, DJ, for also coming. Thank you to all of you for coming and asking all your questions. And thank you so much for calling us right here on Daily Thetha. 011-339-1315. Give the number so we dial it. Tumelo. We'll see you again next time with more thought-provoking topics right here on SABC 1. Goodbye.